Did you guys hear? PS5 True Power been revealed. 120 FPS on an 8K display, $100,000 8K display, and some kind of secret Tokyo meeting, some kind of secret shit going down over there, showing down the real power. Phil Spencer don't call it in. He says don't work on Xbox. Xbox is doomed. All right, guys. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we need to talk about this 120 FPS 8K Gran Turismo footage going around. Let's get into it. What is going on, guys? It's Dealer here, back again with yet another video. And hey, don't get me wrong, Sony have made some great hardware in the past, particularly the PS4 in 2013, but this is a stretch to say, alright, you done pulled your back out. It's a stretch. So what exactly is going on here? What am I talking about? Well, I've been DM'd this several times from some Sony guys talking about PlayStation 5 and how it's running Gran Turismo Sport at 8K 120 FPS. Now, the reason people are even talking about this is because there was just a CES-style event over in Tokyo where select manufacturers were showing off the latest and greatest in technology. There, Sony had their 8K 120Hz display, and on that display was running Gran Turismo Sport. Yes, I know. Intriguing. Think about that, 8K 120 FPS. Man, that is a monster display. The bandwidth alone to run that is insane. Anyway, I digress. Before you know it, Bob told Sally it's running on PlayStation 5, and Sally told a Sony fanboy, and now look what we have here. Now, to their credit, what I can say is that Sony has actually talked about Gran Turismo Sport's ability to scale in visuals. Polyphony is on record saying their assets were built for 8K, and that if some kind of future hardware came out, they could easily just scale it up to 8K. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting this from. I think that's why people are trying to make this connection. So yeah, some of you guys probably want to slow down with this talk. What I can tell you is it definitely wasn't running on any kind of APU technology AMD have, rather now or in the next several years. They will not have an APU capable of running anything like this fidelity. So that's out the window. Perhaps it would be using some kind of checkerboarding. That's another theory. Maybe it's their 4K 8K, which would be doable, I think, on some hardware. Keep in mind, that kind of checkerboarding cuts rendering costs in half, so you would essentially be running the game at somewhere around 4 to 6K, and that could be doable. We've seen Titanfall 2 internally scale as high as 6K on the Xbox One X. And of course, I'll link that down below, because that's always a mind blower when people find that out. So here's the bottom line when it comes to the power of PlayStation 5 and how we can compare that to PS4 Pro to find out how powerful this next system may be. Well, you're not going to be able to do that, because power does not scale perfectly with pixels. For instance, Red Dead Redemption on Xbox One S is around 850p, if I do remember, somewhere around there, but renders at a full-fat native 2160p native 4K on the Xbox One X. That's over 6 times the pixel density with just over 4 times the power. Meaning to get to 8K, you can never just multiply that amount of teraflops to get the same amount of pixels. Power does not scale perfectly with pixels. Bandwidth is also a big issue, a very important piece of the puzzle, and like I said, there's just not enough known. Now let's say they really were showing this on some kind of PlayStation 5 dev kit hardware. If this is the case, they were not doing the resolution nor the FPS natively, meaning they were using some kind of checkerboarding and reprojection to do both. Otherwise, I would deem this impossible for PlayStation 5 hardware. So like I said, some kind of 4K to 6K checkerboarding up to 8K, and perhaps some kind of frame rate interpolation to double that frame rate from 60 to 120. That is the only way this was shown on some kind of dev kit hardware, which is actually still a compliment if they're able to both checkerboard and do frame rate interpolation to get up to 8K and 120 FPS. And if you're not familiar with frame rate interpolation, it's basically where they insert a blank frame in between the existing frames to effectively double the perceived frame rate. If you are familiar with something like Smooth Motion Plus on Samsung TVs, gives you that soap opera effect, a much smoother frame rate. But in a gaming console or PC's case, this interpolation would not introduce tremendous amounts of lag. As a matter of fact, it would still lower latency, unlike your TV soap opera effect. So yeah, like I said, if this was happening, none of it was native. It was using some kind of temporal and reprojection technology, some kind of checkerboarding. still impressive, still probably looks absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the Forza Motorsport 7 footage, not GT Sport. Do you guys think all of this is possible? Do you hope it's possible? And how would you compare this to the Xbox 2? Seeing as Microsoft have already claimed that they're going to have the fastest console next generation. Look at the bright side. If this is possible, if this is working on a PS5, even using some kind of checkerboarding, we know the next Xbox is going to beat it, which is pretty cool to think about. But yeah, once more, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Maybe you learned something today. Share this with a buddy or 10. And if you're new, subscribe. Also, tonight, be on the lookout for RDX, Real Deal Xbox Podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Tuesday. That will be live on this channel. And check that description. I put some links down there for you guys to click on. Thank you so much. I'm Dealer. I'm out.